My latest obsession in Trackmania has been the Continus obstacle campaign, where for the past weeks I've hunted all the maps and put in a lot of effort to try to get all the world records. After achieving that goal and making a video about it, I have been under a barrage of attacks from new players hunting the tracks, and I love some competition on these. I think it's really fun to optimize these maps to the limit, so I've fought back. And over the last couple of days, many records have dropped by tremendous amounts and new tricks have been found on some tracks as well. So today I thought I'd show you all the tracks again and the world record history on them and where the records now stand, because things have gone pretty crazy. Let's get into it. 8475 was my time on the first map at the time I made the video, and this record has gotten beaten, and not just by a tiny amount, by a huge margin, 500th faster basically, from Yorid with an 842. Now this track is the most played, it's played by 1700 players, and already I thought that there isn't really much more you can gain beyond this, because the map consists of going up a hill, catching grip, going down over the other side, catching grip there, and driving to the finish. But look at this new record from Yorid. Just, like, this is a masterpiece. He does the right-left flick, but the front wheel gets the grip. In my run, it was the back wheel. Like right here, look at how this is done. Like, small release, dives exactly over the edge, then steers left to make sure that the car doesn't slide down the hill. Has just a tiny bit of grip on the front wheel down the hill, but that's enough to accelerate all the way. And this record, guys, I dare say I won't be able to beat, and it might not be beaten by anyone. This is a crazy time. Map 2, no changes since the video, but this is the record that took me, I'd say, the longest for the initial 25 sweep, because Kreth here just did an insane time. I mean, in the video we showed all the records in a fast-moving montage, but if you look here, like, these ramp cuts are insanely difficult to do precisely, where you land just at the start of the block, and then this one as well, you do a weird right steer to counter steer, and you also land just at the start of the block. And so there isn't much left to improve here. This one I am very happy with, but maybe people haven't gotten there yet and they're actively hunting it. Map 3 this time I think is also quite strong. Nexo beat me after I got all 25 records, and then I had to take it back. And it's very strange on this map how it looks as though there are many lines you can take. You're kind of forced into one. I get airtime here, and Nexo doesn't, so he should have more speed. But then the gear up happens at a weird time, and so the speed is kind of equal anyways. And then we both dive over this edge to get a nose down, and then the air brake, and you want to air brake in a way where the car is a bit wobbled. You see, it's not flat here. And what that does is it wobbles again over this, and your wheels catch sooner on this platform. And now you have to get a very flat landing on the last one and push the inside corner to the finish. Like, it's a 7-second map, but it's very hard to get under 7.8 seconds on it. Not many changes, but guys, stay with me. There will be some insane things later in the campaign. Just want to go through the maps one by one. Now, this didn't make the all world records video, but huge respect to Torben Lee here, because this guy is a Division 7 player, and he set a record on one map, and then 7 minutes later set this run right here. And I needed several hours to beat this time. I don't know who Torben Lee is, but he's beating some really impressive players, like faster time than Nexo, faster time than Yorid. And I, as I said, needed several hours to top this, so just insane run. Crazy stuff by Torben. Maybe we have a new prodigy on our hands here. So map 5 is the first one that is essentially a battleground for the video. I mean, I started out here getting the record with a 1064, and then the initial record holder took it back with a 1063. I then took it back with a 1062, and then Yoso and a bunch of other Swedish players beat me, 1055. And I think this has to do with the Norway-Sweden world record battle. If you look at the Trackmania world record list by country, I mean, you have all the top nations, sure, but there's this Norway-Sweden rivalry where Norway's at 12,608 records and Sweden at 12,820. So I think the Swedes hunted here to take one back for their country, and I really wanted to beat it. But before I could, Fabi Zander did a 10:51, insane time. And I needed many hours to get a 10:48 here. So we can look at this one in a bit more detail as well. So you have to go very wide here on the quarter pipe jump. It's to get a low jump across, but also that if you land perfectly, you can keep third gear on the landing. So when you go down the slope, you don't have the gear up from second to third, which is very fast. And then you have to send it here for a very low jump. You can see I'm going off the corner, like not going off the top of the block, but off the corner. This looks doomed, but the wheel catches just in time and you get the lowest airtime possible. Insane battle for this one, and as of now, my 10:48 still stands, but there is a few more hundreds left to push for there. Map 06, not too much happened here. I had a 12.9, original CJM beat it with a 12.90, and now I have a 12.84, but CJM will make a return later. He also drives with this crazy car skin. I'm not a car expert, so I don't know which car that is, but I could never be as precise with a skin like that. We can see the new Wirtual comparison here. The most crucial thing on this one is to land very early, because you get now sent further left, and further left means higher. So because I'm jumping from a higher point, I can jump more to the right. It takes me further, and now I'm lower, and now I have a higher speed line to the finish. Something to think about if you want to hunt. I mean, join the hunt, guys. What are you waiting for? Join the... Push these maps to the limit. Map 7, I had a 13.01, instead of 12.98, and I did a 12.96, only 200 faster, but this is one of the runs I'm also very happy with in the campaign. Like, hard to see how I could improve much further here. So, I mean, it just looks like drop downs and I remain ahead, but first of all, look at this one. This is the most important one, probably. Instead of doing any diagonal thing, I go exactly on the corner to get the flattest possible landing here, and this builds so much speed, this landing. And it also lets you get a very sharp line to that platform. Here you want wobbles, because again, like on map 3, if your car is wobbling a bit, it reduces airtime. And then for the last one, you have to get that wobble into a flat again. So I go on the corner, it becomes quite flat, and it avoids a slide to the finish, which is why it's such a fast time. Map 8. I haven't had to reclaim this one, but Yorid came within 3 thousandths of beating me and hasn't yet gone past. It is essentially the same run, but my ending, and I felt it when I drove it too, my ending on this map is just insane. Yorid a tiny bit ahead here, but then this last climb in third gear is just so hard to do. Exactly perfect. So Yorid has been really fun to compete against in the campaign so far, so impressed by his pace. Another player I've been insanely impressed by is Ins. Fastest way only teammate. He is a Trackmania Nations Forever hunter, and when he saw these maps he said, oh, they look like TMNF maps, let me have a shot at them. And we have fought on map 9 here for a long time. So I had a 1610 when I made the video. Ins did 1606, I did 1605, and then Ins cooked me with a 15993. This run is really sick. So he goes for a different line, bug slides onto the booster, straightens out, jumps very inside line to the booster, and then, I don't know if you caught that, but this is one of those rare moments where crashing is a good thing. His car is very much on the nose, and if you're on 2 wheels when you hit the red booster, that's very bad. You want to be flat. So this crash gives him enough time that the car kind of flattens out and catches the full booster, and he didn't get acceleration penaltied. So he also catches this booster, and it's just an insane time. I mean, that is one I have officially resigned on. I am not trying to beat this one again, because that time is just way too crazy. Map 10, this one, if you want a map to hunt that's like not too optimized yet, this is probably it. I got the record with 10:39, Yori took it back with 10:36, and I took it back with 10:32. This one really is not optimized because you can take a little bit more inside line, you can land with more speed up here, and this last jump can be better. Like, I have a lot of clearance there. I just went for a safe line. So map 10, lots of potential, fully expecting someone to get it. This one I battled with Bren on, and Bren was playing through the campaign and he said, you know, I want to take one record from Wirtual just to troll him a bit, and now it's at 1074. This one is quite optimized, but there is a trick I use that people haven't used before this run, so still some potential left, and you'll notice I'm behind Bren, but I have more speed. What I do in this climb is I air brake. So by air braking here, when the back wheel is behind this timer bar, it will dip the car forwards. And if you then steer left, you give it enough time that the wheel now kicks very high into the air. Like this wheel is now very high, it will clear the edge without any issues. And so you just go straight to the finish. That's where I gain most of the time, and there's still potential for 10.6, 10.5 maybe. Who knows? This campaign is crazy. On this map, when I did the clean sweep, I had the world record at a 13:11. Then I went 13:10 by Jorid, 13:05 by me. And then Jorid drove an insane 12:95, and I spent a lot of time to get it back with 12:94, guys. This is also, when you see these gaps, right? 2 players far ahead, and then just a huge gap to the next players. You'll know a battle took place. So we again have very similar runs here. We release late, and that is to have low speed when we land to get a full inside line to the checkpoint. And then you can use the booster here to aim as a visual reference point. And you aim a bit diagonally, but then crucially, you need to release just a tiny bit and catch this landing immediately. This is very hard to do at the pace we're going. And the photo finish works out in my favor. 13, I mean, you can see by the list here, we've had to fight Mac for this one, and I do sense that he's going to come back for it. But we found some strange things here. So in the start here, you can see that Mac is going for a very inside line to this corner. And you might think that that is the best. But what I found out is that by going wider, you're steering smoother, you're making less sharp inputs. And at low speed that matters. And so, although I'm much wider and a wheel behind, I have a tiny bit more speed, fractional. That gives a better gear up, that gives smooth transition here. And I preserve that fractional speed advantage. And this map is just a long straight line, like look at it. So that speed is still there. And then a tiny bit better last transition gives almost 200ths in my favor, despite being behind on the start. So this is some of that like micro precision. Map 14, small battle with Mac here too, but right now I remain ahead by 200ths. Found some stuff here as well, but it's really just different lines and release timings, like releasing mid-air on this map is good. Typically, we advise players to release before a jump. So right here, you might think, oh, I should release here. But if you release mid-air, then the trajectory of the car will be more just down into the slope. Like it will go down into the slope, that's well, below the car right here. And that makes you faster. You need to drive down, like look how early we land. You need to drive down that banana for the speed to the finish to get a good time here. And this one is still improvable as well. Very improvable. So map 15 has only had 2 world record improvements since the video. One by Mac and me reclaiming it. But what Mac found here is insane. So let's watch ins first. This is the second best time with the normal strategy where you just go full inside line, low transitions, you get a wobble here and then precise to the finish. Nice run. I did a 12:22 in the same way. Look at Mac for comparison. He starts out to the left and he's way behind ins. So what is the justification? Well, the justification is that now you have third gear. Now you have so much speed, in fact, that you can just cut this entirely, drop down and land here, and then drive to the finish. So you need to go wide on the start, third gear here before the jump, and then you air brake late to barely make to the block, and then you drive to the finish. It's such a smart find. And shamelessly, I just yoinked his entire strategy and drove it 7 thousandths faster because Mac clipped the ending. So this one, a little bit disgusting. I don't feel proud of it. but he added some great innovation to the map. He was even ahead here, but then he clips his wheel a tiny bit, and I win it in the very last second. It was not right. It was absolutely not right. Map 16, not many improvements to speak of either. Jorid beat me once, I took it back, and Ince almost beat my time as well. So on this map, it's just low transitions again, but it's super satisfying when you get it right. The first one, you have to land so high on the block as you can, and then do a smooth line in the uphill. Don't want to go too sharp up the hill because that's steep, right? And then here, this one is super satisfying when you get the perfect low jump. And then no one's gotten the perfect low jump on this one yet. Still some room there. Ince had more speed than me to the finish, and a lower climb, and it became very close. Map 17, unchanged, although a bit surprising. I think this one, you can absolutely get a few more hundredths, maybe just not so enjoyable to play. The main detail here, if you want to hunt this one, is you gotta crash the plastic. Steer left into the plastic, because it puts you at the highest point of the block, and it gives you a better angle to the right. And if you look at how close it is for this landing, with that strategy, like we are almost, floating over the edge of the block. Without it, it's almost impossible to get that jump across, so crash the plastic and you will make it. Map 18, I said that original CJM would make a return, and just look at this leaderboard. This is crazy. I struggled for over an hour to beat Andoni B's 1482. I had a 1482 0 or something as well. It was a very long battle. CJM drove a 80, I drove a 79, he drove a 77, I drove a 76, then he drives a 1469, and that was a pretty sick time. I drove a 66, and then the next morning I look at the leaderboard and he has a 1438, and I was like, what? How did he gain 0.3 basically on a straight line? We have a fascination on the channel with straight line maps, and what he found here is quite clever. So let's start by looking at Andoni's run. So for a 1482, Andoni climbs the first one diagonally, because that's faster, goes diagonally here, tries to carry as much speed as possible, and look at the gear indicator in the bottom right. He goes from third to second, but he keeps second gear all the way until the last part of the uphill. Then he shifts down to first, but it's still pretty good, and then he drives to the finish. So the reason he loses the gear here, guys, is that he gets airtime. This airtime, you see it. Car lifts off, and he shifts to first. And what CJM figured out is that if you don't get airtime, then you can perhaps preserve second gear. And you hear Trackmania creators yap about gears this, gears that, but this matters so much. This gear makes you literally half a second faster. So we can see that they're pretty much similar. CJM keeps the gear and gains half a second to the finish line. And so, shamelessly, like the other map, I just copied what CJM did and drove it a tiny bit faster. Diagonal to get no airtime there, keep second gear, and then smooth. And I didn't even realize it when I drove this one, but I probably should have crashed, because this was insanely close to the pillar. I couldn't really see much in camera 2 when I drove it, but yeah, lucky that that was the one. Map 19, mostly unchanged from the video. Jorid got a 1114, but no new world record to speak of, so we get to keep this one for now. But the next one, guys, looks ridiculous when you see the leaderboard. I had the world record here with 1739. Brand drove this map on stream, drove a 1738. Then I took it back with a 1735, which had a hilarious strategy I got on accident, where I crashed the hole and got a backflip and was able to keep driving. And then Ince started playing the campaign, right? And Ince just drops a 1692. So I spent a few hours and I got 1686. And then he comes right back, 1675. I spend many hours and I get a 1670. I think, whew, that was a good run. And then he drives a 1648. I mean, he almost gapped Bren by a second. He gapped me by 0.2. This is an insane run by insane. So on this map, you do the drop downs. And here what's crazy is that he jumps so far and lands with just the right wobble to keep enough speed to land down here directly. and then slows down, aims for a finish you can't see, but still gets just below the roof of it and over the line. It's a really sick run. But the strategy on this map is to often slow down a bit on this drop down, because the earlier you land on the next platform, well, the more speed you'll have, and it makes this jump here survivable. This is like a full Hail Mary strategy to just go that close and still make it. Like, no time wasted, effectively. No chance trying to beat this, because it's just too crazy. Map 21, the gap isn't that crazy from my initial time of 13.791. But there's been so many tiny improvements on this one. And the main thing we found out is that you want to go higher over the hill. You want to smooth steer in the exact moment that you go over the turn to keep grip, to basically get more acceleration out of it. Smoothly diagonal downhill, a little bit of a late air brake, and all of this builds the most speed you can in the start. Then the ending is pretty much unchanged. You air brake, you go for a full inside line, you need full grip down the hill, and then 253 speed or more to make the last jump. And I might have lost a little bit of time here because I crashed the finish line. Like, it looks like I'm further ahead of Jorid than just 4 thousandths. So I'm not sure. But the way I understand Trackmania finish lines is it matters how much speed you cross the finish line with for what time is calculated for you. So if you crash into the finish line, it might actually slow you down, although you're technically already there. Still a bit further to go on this one. Map 22, I had an 1198, and now after a long battle with Inns, we're down to 1147. Half a second on a 12-second map. That's pretty good for an improvement. And there aren't too many changes. The start is clean. We clip here in a more aggressive way on this booster, which turns the car more so you get a quicker rotation. And then in the ending, I have something hilarious here, which is that going over this booster, I go too wide and I fall off the side. And that looked very slow, but it's actually probably faster, because with this line, I keep second gear. Like, I'm so fast over this that I keep second gear. And although I'm like clipping the block a bit, you can see that I'm still keeping the same distance to Inns, who stayed within track limits. So that might be the best strategy on the map. And I didn't really go for that. It just kind of happened on accident, a happy little accident. And now guys, for map 23, this is the map I've hunted the most at this point in the campaign, where I have had the longest battle with Inns I have ever had on any map. If I count this right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, there's been 11 world record improvements since the video. So I got the world record first at a 1328. We are now down to 1311 and 1313. So we've essentially found the perfect strategy on the map. In the start, you go intentionally a bit wide, same as the map previously, where you want more speed onto the pipe here. And then when you jump up, it's important that when you land, you're steering in a way to prevent sliding. You can't see this at this point because you're in camera 3, forced, but you're estimating it. Then you go over the pipe, and you aim again in cam 3, to go as low as possible without falling off this block and onto the pipe. And on the pipe, the fastest is to drive with 2 wheels on it, because then you're not clipping anything, you're not scrubbing against it. You can take a look at Inns 2, current personal best. Sad that he's still going for this one, so it is possible he can take it back. You see here, 13.2, but a little bit bad in the last one. This one, the story's not over, and Inns likely to get it. Map 24. Nothing's changed since the video, still ahead of Birtka, but this is also one of those maps that it's just not that interesting to hunt, maybe. I didn't find it that interesting to hunt, and it was quite annoying to try to land this landing here flat, and then aiming the finish for so far away. Not the campaign favorite, but map 25 we can still see some more improvements. I did a run I'm very happy with, a 14.407. The record here was 14.60 by Inns, and before that 14.68 by me. And the only improvement here is really in the ending. If you look at the comparison, the start is about similar. I get a bit more of an inside line here, but I'm not 0.2 ahead. It's just that in the ending, I get such a low flip over this block and satisfyingly finish backwards over the line. So just making the car as flat and small as possible by not counter-steering. Just holding right and letting it rotate. And it worked out perfectly. So guys, these are the records in the obstacle campaign as of this video. I right now have 22 out of 25. I have lost many, I have taken them back, but there are some I will never take back here, so we will see how many of these remain in a while, but do go check out the campaign, give it some love. I've had a ton of fun playing this. You can find it in-game by searching for Cease Obstacle, or I'll link it also in the description on Trackmania Exchange. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this, a short update on where the records are at, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye, friends, take care, bye-bye. Bye-bye.